Pramakaranam is my eyes. Did the pencil come out of my eyes? No. So, Shastrasya Yoni, if you interpret it this way, Shastrasya Yoni Riti Vyakhyane Swavachana Virodha Katham Shastram Nama Nityam Janmarahitam Yonirahitam Vedadi Shastram Nityasya Shastrasya Yonir na bhavati Tasmat Shastrasya Yoniriti Kathane Swavachana Vyagata यदि शास्त्रमेव योनिर्यस्य इति बहुब्रीहि समासः क्रियते तदा तु प्रमाणकारणयोर अभेदापत्ति and that is not reasonable ever. It is the opposite. Okay. So very beautifully Panchanand Tarkaratna in the Shakti Bhashya says it is neither a Bahubri nor a Shashti Tatpurusha Samasa. It is a Samahara Dvando. Shastrancha Yonitvancha. Both of these are properties or Shaktis of the goddess. She has the power to be origin, not of Shastra, but of the whole world, of the universe. Everything. She is called Brahmanda Bandodari. It is in her womb that the Brahmanda is created. But she is herself Shastra. Why? What is Veda? In fact, the original meaning of the word Brahman was Veda itself. Even now, in modern Sanskrit, when an old man like me very passionately speaks out and recites the Veda, Agnimide Purohitam, Jajgasya Deva Mrityajam, Sahasra Shirsha Purusha Sahasraksha. Then out of my mouth, the little drops of saliva which come out, Amarakosha calls it Brahmavindu. Okay. We all have had in school and college old professors and teachers. If you sat too close on the front row, you would be showered with those Brahmavindu. So why Brahmavindu? Because Brahman is Veda. It is drops of those sounds. So Veda is Shabda Tattvam. Veda comes out of Om, out of which comes Saptavyarati, out of which comes Gayatri. An elaboration of Gayatri's rest of the Vedas. This is Veda's own Siddhanta. That Veda is of the nature of Vak. And who is Vak? The goddess herself. So she is Shastra and Yonitva together. Shastram cha Yonitvam cha. Therefore, Shastra Yonitvat iti sutrena Devya Swarupam Uchyate. The nature of this cosmic mother of the universe, the goddess herself. And there is no contradiction. The Apaurushayatva and the Nityata of the Vedas are present. With this, I would request Sachidananda Mishra ji to start explanation of the Shankara Bhashya.
Thank you, sir. It was delightful. Ma'am, if you want to comment anything, or shall we go? Okay, now I invite Professor Sachidananda Mishra, Member Secretary, Indian Council of Philosophical Research, New Delhi, to share his thought on Shastra Yonitvadikaranam. Welcome you, sir.
निधये सर्वविद्यानां भिषजे भवरोगिणां गुरवे सर्वलोकानां दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः. Respected Chairman Professor Arindam Chakravarti ji, respected participants and scholars from different part of country and different part of world. This is indeed a pleasure to be here, share the screen with Professor Arindam Chakravarti ji, reading whom we have understood many ideas and who is always a guiding principle for us. And even today's lecture, what is the essence of my lecture? That is, everything is explained by Professor Arindam Chakrabarti ji. And I think that this lecture is not a lecture in the form of lecture, but the textual reading. So I would begin this sutra, this adhikarana. This is called Shastra Yonitva Adhikarana. So, how this sutra is coming into play? This is the third sutra of Brahma Sutras. First one is Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Second one is Janmadhyasya Yatah. And third one is Shastra Yonitvat. Simply it appears that when it is said Janmadhyasya Yatah, thereafter Shastra Yonitvat. So it seems the case that why it is accepted that Brahman is cause of Janma, Sthiti and Laya. Janmadi, Janma, Sthiti, Laya. Karanam, Laya, Sthanam, Brahma. So this is supported by this sutra, Shastra Yonitva. However, when we read the text, Acharya Shankara's Bhashya, it reads something differently. He says, Jagat Karanatva Pradarsanena Sarvagam Brahma Ityupakshaptam Tadeva Drahena. Shastri. So, this sutra is not to establish that Brahman is Jagat Janmadi Karana. Rather, this sutra is to establish, to support that Brahman is Sarvagya. So, in this way, this sutra is understood, explained by Acharya Shankar first. However, there are two interpretations given by Acharya Shankara. One interpretation, because there are two types of confusions. One confusion is whether Brahman is cause of origin of Shastra or not. Second one is whether Brahman is proved or known through Shastras or not. And these 2 points Acharya Shankara explained commenting on this sutra. So we can see there, because this is also a Mimamsa Shastra, Uttara Mimamsa, and it is accepted that Anadinidhanam Brahma Shabda Tattvam Yadaksharam, as Professor Arindam Chakrabarti just quoted. So, Shastra is actually, Shastra means Veda, Shasanat Shastram, Sansanat Shastram. There are two Vyutpattis, Shasanat Shastram and Sansanat Shastram, because they prescribe something to perform. Therefore, they are called Shastra. And they also give some insights. Therefore, they are called Shastra. So here in this Shastra Yonitva Adhikarana, one question is this one, that Brahma could not be cause of this Shastra, Veda. Why? Because Veda is considered to be eternal. There is a very well established doctrine of Purvamimamsakas, and it says that Vedas are apaurushaya. Vedas are not created by anyone, any person. Apaurushaya means not created by any person. So if Vedas are apaurushaya, how Brahman could be Shastrasya Yonihi, Shastrasya Karanam, Shashti Tatpurush Samas? Because as Professor Arindam Chakrabarti has pointed it out, that there are two possibilities. And however, there are not only two possibilities, but there is another third possibility also there, which is discovered by Nyaya Panchanana, just in 20th century. So there are two possibilities, and one possibility is that Shastriyonitva, Shastrasya Yonehe, Shastra Yonehe. So this is Shashti Tatpurush Samas. Second one is Shastram Yonihi Yasya. Saha Shastra Yonehe. So first one is Shashti Tatpurush Samas. Second one is Shashti Bahuvrihi Samas. So which one should we accept? And here Acharya Shankara is saying that both of these are accepted, one after another, because there are two confusions and both are removed by this. First confusion is this one, that Vedas are eternal, and because these Vedas are eternal, these are apaurushaya, so Brahman cannot be Shastra Yoni, Shastrasya Yoni, cause of origin of Shastra. So because there are many such statements in where it is said that Vedas are eternal, Nitya, Daivi Vak. So if Vedas are eternal, how could they be created? There is no possibility of creation and there is no possibility of origin. So this one is the problem, and this problem is discussed by Acharya Shankara first. And in order to discuss this problem, Acharya Shankara has started saying Jagat Karanatva Pradarshan, because in the earlier sutra it was said that Brahman is cause of Jagat. Janmadyasya yataha. Janmadi asya. Asya jagataha. Asya means jagataha. Janmadi. Janma sthiti laya. These three. So these three are attributed to Brahman. So Jagat Karanatva, if Brahman is Jagat Karana, so there is a necessity that Brahman should be Sarvagya. However, there is a problem. Problem is this one. As in the case of Sankhya philosophy, Prakriti is cause of this Jagat, this world, Upadanakara. But Prakriti is not Sarvagya. Prakriti is not knowing. So Prakriti is not knowing this world. Prakriti is not Sarvagya. It is not omniscient. But this is cause of everything. So in that sense, are we talking about Jagat Karanatva? And if in that sense we are talking about Jagat Karanatva, there will be a great difficulty, because it is not established that Brahman must be omniscient in order to be cause of this world. Therefore, actually here, Brahman is not only considered Upadana Karana, rather Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karana. Brahman is Upadana Karana, Vivarta Upadana. This is not Upadana Karana simply, but this is Vivarta Upadana Karana. And also Nimitta Karana. And Nimitta Karana can only be that thing, that one who knows. As in the case of Nayayikas, God is taken to be Nimitta Karana of this world, creator of this universe, and he is Sarvagya. So here, this Sarvagyata can be there only if Nimitta Karanata is postulated. And this Nimitta Karanata is also understood there from that sutra, Janmadyasya yata. Because Brahman is Nimitta Karana as well as Upadana Karana. So here Acharya Shankara begins this text, this commenting on this sutra. Mahataha, how? Because the aim of explanation of this sutra is this one, to establish that Brahman is Sarvagya. Sarvagyata of Brahman is established from this sutra according to Acharya Shankar. This is the one meaning, one understanding of this sutra. And the second one is that Brahman is established from Shastra. Brahman, there is a Praman. Brahman, Shastra is actually Praman in proving Brahman. So this is the second one. I will come to that second point later. So first one is this one, and here also there are some arguments in second position also. Why? Because according to Advaita philosophy, a siddha vastu can be known through different pramanas. This is not the case that only one praman is capable of making us aware of something which is siddha vastu. If there is a pot that can be perceived, that can be inferred, that can be known through Shabda Prabha. So Brahman is also siddha vastu. And if that is siddha vastu, and this is the problem. There are arguments from Mimamsakas. Mimamsakas are of this opinion that the whole word is talking about only sadhya. It is not talking about siddha. Amnayasya kriyarthatvad anarthakya matadarthana. So amnaya is only kriyartha. So amnaya, Vedas are proposing, Vedas are expounding only sadhya. For example, Swarga is sadhya. If you perform some yajnas, you will go to heaven, and this cannot be established through any other pramanas, neither through perception nor through inference, but only Shabda is there to prove it, to establish it. So if this is the case, so the problem here in Advaita philosophy, Brahman can be, because it is very well quoted statement, Anubhava Vasayitvad Brahma Vidyaya. So Brahma Vidyana is Anubhava Vasai. Anubhava Vasai means it culminates in experience. And if it culminates in experience, that means there is not only one pramana to prove Brahman. Because only Shabda pramana is not there, but there is another pramana also which proves Brahman. However, there will be difficulty to understand how these pramanas operate in the field of to establish Brahman, because when a pramana is applied, there is a need of distinction between pramana and prameya, and here there ceases to be any distinction between pramana and prameya. So this problem is also there. Second one, that if Brahman is siddha vastu, there that can be proved through different pramanas, can be known through different pramanas. There is no possibility, it will be wrong to accept that there is only one pramana to prove that. So to remove these two problems, two objections, Acharya Shankara has explained this sutra. So first, one is there to prove, to establish the omniscience of Brahman, and it is said Mahataha Rigvedadehe Shastrasya Aneka Vidya Sthanopabrinhitasya Pradeepavat Sarvarthavad Dyotinah Sarvagya Kalpasya Yonihi Karanam Brahma. So this is the first explanation. Rigvedadi Shastra are Mahan, great. And it is very famous that Sahasravartma Samavedaha. Samved has 1000 branches. And in the same way, Rigveda has so many branches. So all these Vedas are having so many branches, and in such a way, these are also having Aneka Vidyasthana, Ashtadasha Vidyasthana. So Ashtadasha Vidyasthana Upabrinhitasya. So, Pradeepavat Sarvarthavad Dyotinah. As the lamp illuminates everything in the same way, illuminates the things which are present in the room, in the same way, this shastra eliminates everything. Sarvartha. So if it is eliminating Sarvartha, that means Vedas are like Sarvagya because they are eliminating everything. That means they are very much like Sarvagya, Sarvagya Kalpas. Tasya Yonihi, cause of that, origin of that Brahman. So, in what sense Brahman could be origin of Brahman, Vedas? Because there is a problem. Which problem I just highlighted? That it is accepted that Vedas are taken to be eternal. And if Vedas are taken to be eternal, and if, on the other hand, you are accepting that Vedas are originated from Vedas originate from Brahman, then you are contradicting either this or that. You cannot accept both of them. And here Acharya Shankara is willing to accept both these positions. On the one hand, he is willing to accept that Brahman is actually, Vedas are actually eternal. Secondly, he wants to establish that they originate. They are they are coming from. They are coming from Brahman. So they are coming from Brahman. This is the one point, and second point is this one, that Vedas are eternal, and these two he is willing to establish from this commentary. So first of all, he is trying to establish that these Vedas are not, this Shastra is not created by anybody else. Because this Shastra is so broad. So nahi trishasya shastrasya rigvedadi lakshanasya, such type of Shastra like Rigvedadi, sarvagya gunanvitasya, that Shastra is actually endowed with omniscience, qualities like omniscience, sarvagya gunanvitasya, sarvagyad anyatah sambhavosti, that cannot have origination from anyone else. So sarvagyadanyah sambhavah asti. It cannot come into existence, or it cannot come from anyone else who is not sarvagya, who is not omniscient. So here there is one example. Yadyad vistarartham shastram yasmat purusha visheshat sambhavati yatha vyakaranadi पाणिन्यादेर गेयैक देशार्थमपि स ततोपि अधिकतर विज्ञान इति प्रसिद्धम्. The point is this one, that whatever one writes, this is not his complete knowledge. What one writes, the person must be knowing more than that. So if the person is, there is another point, if someone is plagiarizing, that is a different story. But whatever, because he is not writing that. So whatever one is writing, the person is knowing more than that. For example, when Panini is writing, Paniniya Vyakarana, grammar, he is writing, while writing, when he is writing, he is knowing so many things. He must be knowing more than what he has written. So in that way, this kind of Shastra, which are very much like Sarvagya, they cannot come from someone who is knowing less than that. So in that way, it is established. And here he is going to next line. Kimu vaktavyam aneka shakha bheda bhinnasya dev tiryang manushya varnashramadi pravibhag heto rigvedadhyakhyasya sarva jnana karasya aprayatne naiva lila nyayena purusha nishashavat yasman mahato bhutad yone. So he says that kimu vaktavyam, what can be said?
इसको हिंदी में हमें बिठाना है कि कैसे बने।
These Vedas are actually अनेक शाखा भेद भिन्न. They are divided
ये एक वचन था
in many shakhas, many branches.
और इसमें क्या बनेगा?
As I explained, it is well quoted in Paniniya Mahabhashya, Sahasravartma Samaveda.
किन सब
So there are 1000 branches of Samaveda. And in the same way, there are so many branches of Rig Veda, so many branches of Yajurveda, Shukla Yajurveda, Krishna Yajurveda, and so on. Different
इनका क्या अर्थ हो जाएगा? बोलो इसको।
shakhas are there, Madhyandin Shakha, Taittiriya Shakha, and so on. So, अनेक शाखा भेद भिन्नस्य.
लेकिन अगर आप कोई
देव
आपसे तब ये कहोगे किन से, लेकिन अगर कोई छोटा है, अगर
द्योतनाद देवाः.
कोई छोटा है तो क्या बोलोगे?
Many times it is translated as gods, but I find it is something problematic
या फिर अगर
to translate deva as a gods.
द्वारा अगर कोई बड़ा है तो,
But
और अगर छोटा है तो
it
क्या
can be understood in that way. Deva, Tiryam.
के द्वारा? ऐसा
So
बोलते हैं ना,
other
किनके द्वारा ऐसा कहा
animals,
गया, है ना? इसी तरह इसका क्या हो जाएगा?
Tiryam मनुष्य,
इन दोनों के द्वारा,
human beings. So Deva, Tiryam, मनुष्य, वर्णाश्रमादि प्रविभाग है तो वर्ण
और उसके बाद
and
किन
ashram.
सबके द्वारा, है ना? या किन सब
So
से,
there are
है ना?
4 ashramas, there are 4 varnas. So all these
क्या
are
हो जाएगा अर्थ बोलो?
based on Vedas.
हाँ, किसके लिए बन गया?
So
बन गया
these all
के लिए,
which are based on
इन सब के
Vedas
लिए, हो
and
गया ना
so
सारा?
many things where
और कस्मात
everything
क्या हो
is
जाएगा?
included like
किन दोनों
such
से,
type of
किन
Vedas,
सबसे,
such type of
कसके का क्या हो
Shastras,
जाएगा?
Rig Vedadi,
किसका? देखो का है
they
ना यहाँ पर?
cannot be
के, किसकी,
a product
है
of
ना?
someone who is not
वो
omniscient.
नहीं लगाना है, जहाँ लगना चाहिए वहीं
So
लगाना
there
है।
is a necessity that
नहीं,
they
जहाँ
must
स्थिति-
be,
अगर मान लो इससे ना
there
बनना
must
है,
be
तब हम
someone
इसका use करेंगे।
who is knowing all this,
वो तो जब आएगा
and
तो अभी
knowing
आएगा,
all this,
तो उसके बाद
only
कैसे
then
हो गया?
the
फिर,
person
कस्मिन का क्या
could
हो
be the creator or could be the origin of these Vedas. So Leela Nyaya, but how?
जाएगा?
How
किन सब में,
Brahman could be
जैसे
cause of
कोई
this
रहेंगे
Veda?
तो इसका क्या अर्थ हो
It
जाएगा?
is
पद
also,
लगा
it is
करके।
said very clearly.
हाँ,
Leela
किसको?
Nyayana.
किन दोनों पर,
Lokavattu
किन
Leela
सब पर,
Kaivalyam. So this is
समझ गए?
actually a
तो
kind
यही
of
है,
Leela.
इसको लगाते
Leela.
हैं, इसका अर्थ आ जाएगा आपका।
So he is creating it,
ट्रांसलेशन बनाओगे?
but you cannot say that he is creating.
हाँ, बिल्कुल बिल्कुल बिल्कुल।
So in the Leela, when we see Ram Leela or Rasa Leela, so in Leelas,
है ना?
when you watch Ram Leela, Ram is killing
ये
Ravana.
दोनों,
But actually, Ram is not,
ठीक है, इसका
Ram
क्या
is a
जाएगा?
person who is playing the role of Rama, and Ravana is another person who is playing the role of Ravana. But neither Ram is killing nor Ravana is getting killed.
ठीक है?
So this is called a Leela. So in the same way here, this whole creation is Leela.
आपको सबसे पहले
And
ये वाला
in
बताया।
this way you can
तो
understand the
आपको
concept
प्रश्न
of
बनाओगे,
Vivarta.
मतलब जो देखोगे,
When it is said this world is Vivarta from Brahman, that means this world is not created from Brahman.
आप क्या
It is
करोगे?
said many
आप क्या
times
करोगे?
that world is not created from Brahman. Because if it were created, it ceases to be
जैसे आपने राम
Vivarta.
का लिखा था ना, वैसे ही आपको
अतत्वतो न्यथा प्रथा. It is very famous statement. अतत्वतो न्यथा प्रथा विवर्त इत्युदीरिता. So अतात्विक अन्यथा भाव. It is not real. So this is not real. This creation of Vedas is also not real.
तो आपको क्या
So
करना है?
creation of Vedas is also not real. And in order to explain that point, Acharya Shankar has taken this example, this beautiful example, Purusha Nishwasa.
लिखा है ना आपने इसका ब्रैकेट में,
As we breathe,
ब्रैकेट उसका
ये तो मतलब
when we leave the breathe, that is Nishwasa. So exhale, when we exhale, that is Nishwasa. So this is going on without our knowledge. We don't do that knowingly, but it happens without our knowledge, without coming into play. This is to say, in Nyaya philosophy, there is a concept of Jivana Yoni Yatna.
आपको क्या
So this is considered to be a kind of Jivana Yoni Yatna. And here, without all other yatnas are caused by knowledge as and also by Kriti. But this Jivan Yoni Yatna is not caused by knowledge.
बता रहा हूँ
So
जैसे मान लो
when
सबसे
we
interesting
are willing to understand
इसमें
this
रेस्पॉन्स
concept,
वाला है
concept of
मतलब
origin of this
तुम
Veda, we
या
must be
इसका
very
अर्थ क्या हो
careful
सकता है इसके
that
हिसाब से
Brahman has not created these Vedas
इसके हिसाब
in
से
the way we create these novels,
हाँ
these
तुमने
poetries, etc.
इसका क्या अर्थ हो जाएगा
But those are actually, these Shastras are
लोग नहीं भूल
actually
के चले ना
like Nishwasa, Purusha Nishwasa. Yasman Mahato Bhutat Yone Sambhavah.
तुम
Yasman Mahato Bhutat Yone Sambhavah.
तुम
So this
मान लो
Mahat
आप
Bhuta
तो क्या बोलोगे हाँ बोला ना
and
इसी तरह
Bhutat
से क्या बन
Yone Sambhavah. Asya Mahato Bhutasya Nishashitam Etad Rigveda. And here again,
तुमको
Acharya Shankara is quoting one mantra, one part of mantra. Asya Mahato Bhutasya Nishashitam Etad
और
Rigveda.
त्वाम का क्या अर्थ हो
So
जाएगा
this Veda is also, so here you can see that both the problems are handled. One problem was that how Vedas could have been created by Brahman,
समझे
and how Vedas could be eternal. And taking this idea, he is giving that actually these Vedas are created like Leela Nyaya. Leela Nyaya, that means they are not created. Secondly, they are like Nishwasa.
यही चीज आप
So
लिख लोगे ना एक बार
as Nishwas is not
इसी तरह
done
त्वा का चलो
knowingly,
त्वया
knowingly in the true sense, that way these Vedas are coming into coming to us from Brahman.
त्वया का क्या
Tasya Mahato Bhutasya, and from whom these Vedas, these Shastras are coming, that that Mahatbhuta, that Brahman, Niratishayam Sarvagyatvam Sarvashaktimatvam. There is Niratishaya Sarvagyatvam.
तुम के द्वारा तो नहीं बोला जाता क्या बोला जाता
Niratishaya means there is a no possibility of more than that.
नहीं ठीक बोल रहे थे हाँ देखो
Atishaya Niratishayatva,
तुम्हारे द्वारा
where is no possibility of more than that, that is Niratishaya.
त्वत का क्या
Niratishayam Sarvagyatva. So there is Sarvagyatva, and that Sarvagyatva is Niratishaya
तुम
Sarvagyatva.
इसके आगे
Because there is no possibility of more than that.
अब तब का क्या अर्थ हो
And
जाएगा
also Sarva Shaktimatva.
तब
Because whatever is performed, whatever is done, that is done from that perspective, from this angle. So there are two things established from this statement. There is Sarvagyatva and Sarva Shaktimatva. So here in earlier sutra it was established that Janamadhyasya Yataha Janma Sthiti Laya Karanam Brahma. This point was established by earlier sutra. This sutra is not establishing that.
नहीं बोलते
According to Acharya Shankara, he is not saying that Janmadhyasya Yataha Shastra Yonitvat. So in that way he is not willing to understand the meaning of this sutra. However, in some commentators, some Bhashyakaras have taken these two as a single sutra.
अब यूज पता चला आपको
Janmadhyasya Yataha Shastra Yonitvat. So these two sutras taken together form one sutra according to some Bhashyakaras. But according to Acharya Shankara, these two sutras are not taken together to form one sutra, because in one sutra, that is Janmadhyasya Yataha is another adhikarana, a different adhikarana, and this Shastra Yonitva, Shastra Yonitva is another adhikarana, Shastra Yonitva adhikarana.
एक तो ये वाला
So that this first meaning is explained by Acharya Shankara. Then he is also discovering the second meaning, Athva. However, when we find Athva in the text, sometimes it appears that alternatively, this Yathoktam Rigvedadi Shastram Yonihi Karanam. So this alternatively sometimes is understood exclusively
हाँ ये दो करके आपको
That is to say, first one is rejected, left, and this second one is taken. But here I don't think that this is the situation here to understand in that way. Rather, the point is this one here, that here Acharya Shankara is willing to say that the earlier meaning is also accepted and this meaning is also accepted, and we have to accept both these meanings, and if we don't accept any one of these meanings, there will be some points left, and in order to understand these 2 points, we have to be very careful in this regard. And actually there are some issues with my mobile, so therefore I have taken it to charging point.
हमें बताना भूल गया इसको
Okay.
कि इसमें ना
So here Acharya Shankara is taking that point from different perspective, and he is saying that
लैंग्वेज संस्कृत है
अथवा
बात देखिए आपने
पापा को ऐसा लगता है मुझे बहुत आती है
this
लेकिन कोई बात नहीं
सर्व
this
this
जब संस्कृत पढ़ना
this
सिखा दूंगा ना,
1 minute
मतलब
please.
समझना
तो
कम से
डेली
कम।
इसको मैं
तो
थोड़ा
हाँ बिल्कुल, जब आप समझने लगोगे ना तो आराम से आपको ये सारी चीजें समझ में आने लगेंगी।
Sorry.
तो ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट
Sorry for this disturbance.
वो प्रैक्टिस सेट्स भी दिए हुए हैं तो वहाँ से भी आपके काम आएंगे, और ये फोटो भी है।
So he is saying यथोक्तम ऋग्वेदादि शास्त्रम योनिः कारणम प्रमाणमस्य. As Professor Arindam Chakravarti has already pointed it out, that this is second meaning is taken, and how this second meaning could be understood, because this in this sutra this yoni word is taken to mean pramana, and yoni means karana. Yoni doesn't mean pramana. So here we can see that as the classical example also quoted by the honorable chairman, that parvataha vanyaman dhumat. So dhumat here there is panchami, and that panchami is taken to be hetu panchami. Why in the it means hetutva, karanatva, hetu panchami. So there are 2 types of causes. One is utpadaka and another one is gyapaka. Gyapaka hetu panchami. So it is explained by Nayayikas that in the sutra when we say parvataha vanyaman dhumat, after dhuma there is a panchami, and that panchami means jnana gyapyatva. Gyapyatva. Panchami means gyapyatva. And dhuma means dhuma jnana. So here when we take this meaning, this is not the primary meaning of this term, rather it is secondary meaning of this term. This is lakshanika. So when we say shastra yonitvad in this sense, shastram yonihi karanam pramanam, and he is very much aware of this point, Acharya Shankara, that karana doesn't mean pramana, but karana could mean metaphorically pramana, because pramana is actually pramakarana, and in the idea of pramana, karana is included, karana is included. Therefore pramana means pramakarana. Therefore lakshanik meaning of this yoni could be pramakarana pramana, and that Acharya Shankara is willing to convey, and he is saying that digyatoktam rigvedadi shastram yonihi karanam pramanam asya brahmanaha yathavat swarupadhika. So in order to know the real nature of Brahman, these Rigvedadi Shastra are actually Karana. So Adhigame Karanam. Here you can see Swarupadhigame Karanam. Yoni nama Karanam. Where they are Karana? They are actually Brahmanaha Yathavat Swarupadhigame Karana. So Karana, where Shastras are Karanas, Shastra is not Karana in Brahman, but it is Karana in Brahmanaha Swarupadhigame. In the knowledge of Brahman, these Rigvedadi Shastras are cause. So Shastra, why? This is very conclusively Acharya Shankara is saying शास्त्रादेव प्रमाणात् जगतो जन्मादि कारणं ब्रह्म अधिगम्यते इत्यभिप्रायः. The point is this one, that there is only one pramana through which it is established that Brahman is cause of Jagat Janmadi. Brahman is cause of the production, creation of this Jagat, and also sthiti of preservance of this Jagat, and also dissolution of this Jagat. Why there is no other pramana to establish? Because if we can see Taraka Pratishthanath and some other sutras where it is very well established that no perception can provide this, establish this, no inference can establish it. So we have to reach at this point only through Shastra. So the point is this one, that these other pramanas are not capable of establishing that this Jagat is caused by Brahman and preserved by Brahman, and this Jagat dissolved in Brahman. So these three cannot be established from this, and this is also quoted by Acharya Shankara. Shastram Udahritam Purva Sutra. And what is that Shastra? This is Udahrita in Purva Sutra, earlier Sutra, Yato va imani bhutani jayante ityadi. So Uchyate. So now the conclusion is made from this sutra. Tatra Purva Sutrakshareణ spashtam shastrasya anupadana janmadi kevalam anumanam upanyastam ityashanketa tam ashankam nivartayitum idam sutram prabhavate shastra yonitvad. So Acharya Shankara says that actually if janmadhyasya yatah, this sutra was there and this Shastriyonitva sutra was not there, then there was a great difficulty to understand the point. Because in that case, there could have been this confusion that this Brahman is cause of this Jagat and cause of this preservation of this world and also dissolution of this Jagat. So this could have been the case as if there is one inference is proposed. For example, you can see Athato Brahma Jigyasa, and it is said Janmadhyasya Yataha. Why? Shastriyonitva Janmadi Asya Yataha. So Janmadi Asya Yataha iti Yataha, here also there is a Panchami, and Panchami could be to as we see in the case of Parvataha Vanhiman Dhumat, in that way. So it could have been the possibility to understand that this Brahman is cause of this world and also the cause of this preservation of this Jagat, this world, and also the cause of dissolution of this Jagat, and it is established through inference. So in order to make this very clear that this cannot be established, it is not proved through inference, rather there is only one pramana to reach at this conclusion, that Brahman is the cause of this Jagat, that is Shastra, and therefore this sutra is taking these two points together, one after another, tam ashankam nirakartum, to reject that objection. This sutra is there, and this sutra says that Shastriyonitvat. So this was the meaning of, and how Acharya Shankara has explained, and how I could grasp the what Acharya Shankara has told. I want to conclude here, and if there are some questions, I will be happy to answer if I could, and if I could not, there are so many scholars who might be answering those questions. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
Okay, thank you, Sachidananda ji. Mama Kantaswara Shruyate Nava.
Shruyate Acharya.
So because in honor of Murali Madhavan ji, my revered friend, who always asks me, to challenges me to compose a nice
कुछ
Ramyam,
शायद पैसे मिल
the
जाए,
Sanskrit
छूट मिल जाए,
kavita.
Very good.
So
Very good, Arindam ji.
I will,
Very
I'll have
good,
a very,
Arindam ji.
very small
I'm happy.
question. I'll have a small question that before we ask the question, I will just please Murali Madhavan ji, by this summary of this, I told you that I take Shastra Yonitvat as actually by Dhvani or Vyanjana, actually referring to the goddess Sharada, who of course, as you know, presides over Kashmir. So here is Murali Madhavan ji, your poem. I just wrote it as I was listening to Satchidananda ji just now.
Yes.
And it is in Malini Chand, in which the famous Asitagiri Samam Syat Kajjolam Sindhu Patre is also composed. So, Madhumaya Rasakupa, Pratibha Jnana Rupa, Madhumaya Rasakupa, Pratibha Jnana Rupa, Shruti Shirasi Vidipta, Samaganaishcha Gita, Nikhila Vachana Vachya, Brahmajonistu Avachya, Brahmajonistu Avachya, Dhavala Kamala Varna, Sharada Avyat, Asman Avyat,
Now,
Sharada Avyad Avarna, Dhavala Kamala Varna, Sharada Vyad Avarna, Madhumaya Rasakupa, Pratibha Jnana Rupa. अत्र प्रातिभज्ञानस्य अयमेव प्रसङ्गः अत्र शङ्करभाष्यस्य भामती टीकायां वाचस्पतिमिश्रेण अति रसवत् प्रसङ्गः कृतः. Vachaspati says, as Satchidananda was saying, that if Brahman is Anubhava Vedya, then Brahman cannot be Vedaika Vedya, Anubhava Vedya. And normally we say in Bhasha that there are three ways in which you can know Brahman, apart from the positive and the negative. Okay, you can know Brahman by Shruti, Yukti or Anubhava. But it is the Anubhava which becomes Shabda Paroksha in the Vivarana Prasthana. That although it is from the words of the Vedas that you get the Pramana, but as Sri Ramakrishna says beautifully, once you have got the words and you are understood by Jadaja Lakshana, then you can throw away the ladder of the words and just be identical. So Pramana and Prameya becomes the same in the Anubhava. And this kind of Anubhava, according to Bhartrihari, and remember Sarvajñatva, Satchidananda ji, I have you pinned on the screen, so I am only looking at you. Like Arjuna had only the eye of the bird, I am only looking at you. So, I am telling you that this Pratibhadva Sarvam iti Patanjali Sutram Vartate. So Sarvajñatva of many kinds. Okay. One of them is called Pratibhajnana. And this is not just, but there is Pratibha, which is behind instinctive knowledge also. Swaravrittim Vikurute Madhav Pungsko Kilasya Ityadi. But this is Pratibhadva Kasya Jnanam Bhavati Sarvam. Okay. So Pratibha Jnana is very important in this part. As you started by saying Sarvajñat. If you read carefully, it is not Brahman's Sarvajñat that is talked about. It is the Veda's Sarvajñat.
भुवम यदेकांग
Look at it. Where Shankara is talking about Veda is Sarvajnana.
धर्मो अपि
Of course, Brahman is Yah Sarvajna, Sarvavid, Yasya Jnanamayam Tapa
यहाँ
इत्यादि.
पर अगर आप देखो
But
हाँ
Veda has is Pratibha Jnana itself. Okay. So Madhumaya Rasakupa Pratibha Jnana
ये
Rupa
आपका क्रियापद
Shruti Shirasi Vidipta
यहाँ पर दिया भी होगा शायद।
Shruti Shira Vedanta Vedanteshu Prajwalita
दधौ
Agnivat
यहाँ दधौ
Samaganaish Gita Nikhila Vachana Vachya Sarvatra Virodalankara Brahma Yonistu Avachya. Okay. Okay. So, you know, Akila Shabdamayi Kila Tetanu.
पढ़ते हुए पता चल जाएगा।
Remember,
तो
in
दधौ
commenting on the Bhagavad Gita, Abhinav Gupta quotes his own kavita, own verse.
इसीलिए इसका
Yatha mayaiva
का मतलब
stutam
होता है धारण।
tavachaka kila
ठीक है?
na stutirambike
क्या होता है? धारण।
nikhila shabdamayi kila tetanu.
किया
So,
किए हुए
sarva shabdaika vachya
धारण क्या हुआ था?
nikhila vachana vachya
तो देखो
brahmayonistvavachya.
अमुना
There is a Western literary device which is called intertextuality.
या नल ठीक है ना?
So, for one people
राजा नल के
immersed in the culture,
वो
these words are supposed to remind you of other texts that you have read.
दोनों किताब दे दो।
Now,
इसमें एक शब्द
any of you
दिखा देता हूँ।
who perform this Sandhya Vandana
हाँ यही दो।
before Gayatri Japa, there is a Gayatri Avahana mantra where this Shastra Jonitva Sutrasya Yoni Shabda Ucharito Bhavati. Katham Ayahi Varade Devi Trakshare Brahmavadini Gayatri Chandasam Mata
ये तो वो वाला है ना।
Brahma Yonir Namostute.
में दिया होगा मगर
So, Nikhila Vachana Vachya, Brahma Yonistvavachya, Avachya, Thabala Kamala Varna, Sharada Abhyad Avarna.
हाँ ये
Having said that, lots of Sanskritism. Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity.
ये वाला क्या दिखा?
My simple question is,
ऊपर वाला ना वो नीचे वाला
and with that you can start the discussion.
अमुना
Sachidanand ji.
अमुना है ना?
जी
Shastra Jonitvad is a Brahma Sutra.
हाँ तो इसका मतलब अर्थ क्या
Brahma
हुआ इसका?
Sutre,
असद का
Sutra
मतलब होता है
Lakshanam
हाँ,
Syat.
ठीक है? तो अब
Sutra
मैंने आपको
Lakshanam
अर्थ करना सिखाया था याद होगा।
Ashud Khateta.
हाँ तो
So
वह
you
कैसु
must,
का
it
मतलब
must
है वह।
apply. What is the
या-
definition of Sutra?
और ये किसका क्या अर्थ हो जाएगा?
Swalpaksharam.
और वे सब
Shastra Jonitva is
और अमुम का क्या अर्थ हो
Swalpaksharam.
जाएगा? करता है कर्म को।
Sandikitam.
नहीं
असंदिग्धम
Asya ayam artho va athava anyo
तो
artha.
ऐसा तो नहीं बनता
नहीं
है।
बनेगा
This is like a sandeha. This is like Tanurva Purusho va.
उसका बन रहा है ना
हाँ
यदि सूत्रा सूत्र
जैसे
असंदिग्धस्य
हमने बोला वह
तदा वाकारेण
हमें भाषा में बोलना
विकल्प
है, कैसे
व्याख्यानं
बोलते हैं?
शंकरेण कथं
जैसे
दीयते
मान लो कोई चीज आपको किसी
इति
को
यदि
देनी है,
प्रश्नः
क्या
स्यात्
बोलोगे?
स्वल्पाक्षरम् असंदिग्धं सारवत्
या
नहीं
तत्र
जैसे आपने मुझे दिया
यो विरोधो
और
भवति.
क्या मान लो मेरे
In the
द्वारा
definition of sutra itself,
क्या कहोगे?
हाँ
उसे दे दो
there is a contradiction
क्या कहा
apparently.
ये
Why?
नहीं उसे
At the end it
अब
says
यहाँ को है ना
विश्वतो
तो
मुखम.
तो
उसको
वह को
Yes.
के लिए क्या प्रयोग करते हैं आप?
So if it is
हाँ, यही बोलते हैं
asandigdha
ना।
in
क्यों?
modern
हालांकि
times
वह
when
को
we have
वह को
वह को नहीं
governments
बोलते,
telling
उसकी
us
जगह क्या
उसे
बोलते हैं?
this
उसको।
is right behavior,
तो अर्थ
this
वही
is
है
right
थोड़ा।
yoga,
तो फिर उससे
this is right
उसको
interpretation.
और इसका
Anybody
क्या
else
जाएगा?
does anything
उससे।
else,
समझ गए?
they are outsiders, they
या
are not
फिर
us.
आपको पता होगा तृतीया
We
का
should
क्या अर्थ है?
remember
से या फिर
Brahma
और
Sutra
भी एक अर्थ है ना?
and all sutras
एक मिनट
starting from
हाँ, क्या है?
first verse of Ishopanishad
उसके द्वारा
हाँ उसके द्वारा
by our greatest interpreter. It is not only that Advaitavadins will interpret one way, Dvaitavadins another way, Vishishtadvaitavadins another way, Shuddhadvaitavadins another way. Not just different Vadas, but the same Advaitavadin, Shankaracharya,
तो क्योंकि अभी बात चल रही है
interprets
राजा नल के
such a
बारे में,
basic
तो
simple
इसीलिए
sentence
बात हो गई, समझ
like
गए ना? तो ये अमुना शब्द
तेन
जो है ये यहाँ
त्यक्तेन
का है।
पुंजिता
विज्ञा
मा कृतकस्य
अदर
स्विद्धनम्
शब्द का तृतीया
अस्य
एक है।
शंकर भाष्ये
क्लियर हो गई बात?
ईशावास्योपनिषदि
इसीलिए जब आप
शंकर
पढ़ो इसमें
वदति
तो सारे शब्दों को देखा
कस्यापि
करो
धनं
कहाँ
मा
कौन
कृत
सा रूप बन रहा है।
इति एका
इससे
व्याख्या
आप जब तक एमए करोगे
अथवा
तो आपको समझ में आने लगेगा सारा का सारा। अगर ऐसे
मा
नहीं
कृत
समझोगे तो
अत्र विश्रान्ति
हमें तो हर कोई कर ही रहा है ना।
कथम मागृध चिंतय कस्य स्विद्धनम
स्विद्धनम
यापि न
क्योंकि तृतीया था
तस्मात् मागृध
अमना राजा नल
तस्मात् हेतुमत भावेन
मतलब क्या सतयुग
मागृध इति हेतुमत
हाँ
कथम मागृध
तो कृति का
कस्य
मतलब
स्विद्धनम
क्यों कहा
इति
ऐसा?
हेतु
सतयुग क्यों कहा
दिस इज वन इंटरप्रिटेशन एंड
ऐसा इसलिए
इन वन वाक्य अन्वय
आपको शायद पता होगा ऐसा सुना भी
कस्यापि धनम मागृत
पहले
इति
कि
so
लोग
here you
तो
see
जो,
विश्वतो मुखता so
आलस नहीं
बहुमुखता
करते थे।
सूत्र how can
हाँ,
shastra unit
ऐसा
have
सुना
so
है।
many
आज भी होता है,
alternative
ऐसा नहीं।
meanings
लेकिन
if it is
पहले की अपेक्षा
swalpakshara
धीरे-धीरे क्या हुआ
and if it
कम
is
हो गया।
swalpakshara
ठीक है?
and asandigdha
तो जब सबसे पहला
Asandigdha
जो योग है
means
वो क्या
certain.
है?
This is
सतयुग
me.
है। चार योग के नाम पता
how
है ना?
can it be vishwato mukha like Shankara is doing that's my question
Yes, sir. Got it.
सतयुग
So the point is actually very beautiful. You highlighted, and you also provided the answer to this problem
और
because the definition of sutra is also saying Vishwato Mukham. And in my lecture, I also pointed it out that when Acharya Shankara is saying Athava, it is not exclusively rejecting one, giving up first meaning. He is proposing second meaning. This is not the case. And if this were the case, then there your objection was justified. That there is a how could it be asandigdha? And both are there. Both of them are accepted. And here there is no doubt that this one is correct or that one is correct. Both are correct and both are taken. And the second example which you have highlighted, Magradha Kasya Siddhanam, there is also both these meanings are together true. Without giving up one, they are actually in Sanskrit there is a statement tantrena va ekasheshena va. It is said tantrena va ekasheshena va. So shastra yonitvat is actually, you can say that this is tantra. Twice these terms are, these shastra yonitvas is spoken twice. In first meaning, because one meaning is this one and second meaning is this one, and it becomes highly condensed alpakshar, because what could have been spoken to speaking twice, that is spoken speaking only once. Therefore these two meanings are coming here, and that is also substantiated with the definition of sutra where it is said Vishwato Mukham. So this is the Vishwato Mukha, because there are different interpretations possible, and those different interpretations are not alternative interpretations. Rather, they are added to one meaning, and this is my understanding and humble submission.
तो हाँ कलयुग में ही तो हुए थे ना बुद्ध, ठीक है, तो ये बात है।
Professor Arindamji, it was a wonderful, what we call, base you have given to the scholarly speech of textual analysis of Professor Sachidananda Mishra.
वराह अवतार लिया था, वराह मतलब
Sachidananda Mishra and both Professor Arindam, they have done justice, and the textual teaching became a wonderful and intellectual feast today. And I am very happy that we could not even see that the time has gone, and even such a Shastra subject. But it, as Professor Arindam used to do normally, because explains all those things aesthetically in the medium of poetry. And always his philosophical ideas, very strange and very strong and very unique, have a flavor of aesthetics. And equally, the aesthetics also, the poetry also gets its what we call merit through the strong foundation of philosophy. So it's reciprocal. That is what I want to say. The poetry and the philosophy. Now, Sachidananda Mishra has done a wonderful, what we call explanation. Very, very beautifully he has done. But I want to ask you, sir, one thing. I am Murali Madhavan. I am asking. I am talking.
Yes.
See, I have a question that the Shankara at the end of what we call when he was explaining the final emancipation,
वो तो राम
he says that even Vedas become Avedas.
Hmm.
So if that is accepted, then what will be the position of the eternity and also the Purushaya of Vedas,
वो तो सब
which was already accepted in the beginning? In the beginning, this may be a little bit contradictory. Seems to be. I think you will make a good justification for that, perhaps. I think as far as the three stages of interpretation you are given to the Shastra Yonitva, that sutra, surely it is all inclusive. It is not exclusive. It is not alternative, as you said. It is all inclusive and all the meanings are relevant. It is just like Jahad Ajahad Lakshana. When you take Jahad, then the Ajahad is away. When you take Ajahad, Jahad is away. That's all. But it both play its role and becomes finally put together. Then only it gives all the points are answered. If you take all the three interpretations. So that is what I could grasp from the Shankara's commentary. So I think what about the Vedas? How the Abhaurushayatva can be looked at from the point of view of Shankara when you speak about the final emancipation, the realization.
Yes. So the point is this one, Vedas are apaurushaya because they are not created in the way we create the text. We write. In that way they are not created. This is the point. Second point you objected that how they could be eternal. So here in Advaita Vedanta, it is very well accepted that Jiva Isho Vishiddhachit Sadasmaka Manadeya. There are 6 things which are anadi, beginningless. Beginningless, however, they are mithya. So here in the same way, we can say, and Acharya Shankar is also saying many times that Vedas are mithya. Mithya, they are because they are vyavharika. And if they are vyavaharik, they are mithya. So in that way, they could be eternal as well as they are apaurushaya. Because they are not created. Buddhya vivichya, they are not created. So they are in that way they are coming in.
Satchidananda ji, this is why these days, after Shardarshana and all the 4 prasthanas of Buddhist philosophy, which are also very deep and wonderful, and Kashmir Shaivism, at the end of my career, I feel like coming back to Vakyapadiyam, because in the Vakyapadiyam, towards the end of Brahmakanda, what you just now said, Atra Vedat, by the way, Murali Madhavanji, this is not just Shankara's Bhashya, this is in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Atra Veda, Veda.
Yes.
Where, as you see, although I am not yet 70, but I am already becoming like a child's mind, like I have become a second childhood. Because the Brihadaranyaka.
You are younger to me.
I know. But this is like when you become senile. So I have become senile. So I keep talking. Because on my support, Pramana is Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Because Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says that Pandityam cha nirvidya balyena tisthase. So I live like a balaka. But Bhartrihari summarizes this in a gambhir way. Because the whole process of grammar, the whole process of mimamsa, whole process of showing that even Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma has a vidhi, kriyarthaka interpretation or not. All of this makes your buddhi, it is supposed to. Shruti vipratipannate yada sthasyati nischala तदा वचला बुद्धि
कहाँ पर बनेगा?
तदा योगम अवाप्स्यसि. This is Gita.
चतुर्भी
So
ये
he says, Bhartrihari,
मतलब एक
हाँ,
look, whole grammatical analysis of a sentence is mithya. It is abodhara. It is artificial cutting out, and there are alternative ways of cutting out the same sentence. As contemporary linguistics says, you can make a noun phrase, verb phrase, NPVP classification. You can make a different kind of classification. You can make the kriya the mool. You can make it anvita abhadranavadi. So why so much difference of interpretation? Not as Sachidananda Mishra rightly said, not only the interpretations are vyavaharika and mithya, Veda itself, insofar as it is many varnanupurvi, wherever there is manyness,
मेरा एक फ्रेंड है नवीन
there is
वो भी
mithya.
गया था चेन्नई
But then,
अच्छा आया था ठीक है जनरल
can you do without it? No. Bhartrihari summarizes, and with that, I will take your leave actually. It is way past midnight here. Asatye vatmani tva tata satyam samih.
Satyam samihate.
Ata asat, that asatya vartma is the shastra,
मतलब ऐसा करते
without which there is no getting to satyam. Okay.
Can I ask one
That is
question?
that is why Advaita Vedantins, they Shruti and Yukti both stands for the Shastra part or Asatya Vatma, and Anubhava is the final, that is the self-realization, and there the real the real knowledge comes. Once you reach that stage, the other things have become unreal. Even
But with
Yukti.
Anubhava, you cannot teach. Even Dakshinamurti cannot teach. That's why,
Yes.
we should not have seminars. It will be Guros to Maunam Vyakyanam. Okay, now Maunam.
Really admit.
So, can I ask one question?
Namaste.
Surely.
My name is Santosh. Hello.
Yes, please.
Yes, you can talk. You can ask, sir.
Do Vedas have any beginning?
No, they have no beginning.
They have no beginning.
No.
No beginning, no end.
No, end is there.
Actually, they have
End
no
is
beginning.
there. As far as Advaita Vedanta, when you reach the final destination, when you have, as I told you earlier, as I was telling in my discussion, that when you reach the final emancipation, then no Vedas, Veda Aveda, Veda becomes Aveda. So it never exists. It never exists. So it is Shanda, just like Maya, just like
Yes,
Sankhya
but-
Prakriti. It is Anadi, but it is Shanda.
Can I ask one more question? Do Shankaracharya have a divine power?
I think this is not a philosophical question.
There are several stories related to Shankara glorifying him like that. But then you can believe or not believe, that is another issue. But that never comes into the purview of the discussion of Shastra Yoni.
Yeah.
Shastra Yonitva.
एक ही लिंग, ये सब चीजें फिक्स होती हैं. मतलब जैसा विशेष्य का वचन विभक्ति पुरुष होगा.
Srikala ma'am, you are muted.
अगर जैसे इसमें गिनती का कोई आ गया मतलब जैसे एक का होता है तो इसमें वो नहीं लगता ना मतलब
Abhishra ji, please check whether there are questions in the chat box.
Could you please read those?
If there are there questions in the chat box?
1 minute.
चतुर्भुज है ना, इसका तो बहुवचन निकलता ही नहीं, क्योंकि
Since there are only comments, right?
3 या 3 से आगे कह लो, सारे बहुवचन ही चलेंगे नित्य,
There's
तो
some
बहुवचन चलेगा नहीं, इसीलिए बहुवचन ही चला, ठीक है ना। तो ये 4 चीजें हो
Yes, ma'am.
पदे अर्थात
Dr. RLV.
Yeah, please,
4 चरणों से,
please read the question.
चरणों से, ऐसा अर्थ क्यों?
That will be better for me, please.
Yes.
While we claim that we know more than our expression, perhaps we have some tensions behind our expression. We have certain hesitation behind our expressions. In contrast, it is also true that many cases we express more than our knowledge. Here there is no question of hesitation.
that is why the first pramana is Shruti.
Okay.
So here there is a problem
You have to
with this
Shravana.
statement, I think.
Shravana, Manana,
We
Nidhyasana. Shravana
express
is the
more
first
than our knowledge.
Yeah.
So, if we express more than our knowledge, there is a problem whether that is true or not. And if that is not true, for example, when I write a novel, so I express, but you cannot say that whatever I have written as a novel, that is a product of my knowledge. It is actually a product of my imagination. This is not a product of my knowledge. So in that way, that ceases to be prama. That ceases to be prama. But here we are talking about prama and pramana. And in that case, we have to accept that a pramata, whatever expresses, he cannot express more than that what he knows.
स्थिर कर दिए जाने पर है ना यहाँ तक, इसके बाद के का मतलब क्या हो गया?
Thank you. Are there any further questions?
Can this textual analysis be considered a part of epistemology?
पहली बात तो ये के कहाँ का रूप है, तो कौन से शब्द से बना है, इसका मूल
Textual analysis could be part of epistemology, but it has to be included in any pramana. Like it could be a kind of inferential process, because that could be included in inference.
हाँ लिखवाया था, बिल्कुल बिल्कुल, उसका मूल शब्द क्या था?
Okay, Acharya,
Yeah.
Sashtang Namaskara, I have a question.
Yes.
My question is, when I was learning from Nyaya from an Acharya, the Acharya told the logic which is taught here can be used only to establish what is already written in Vedas. It cannot be used to prove other things and create new facts the way the logic is used in science. And this he told is rooted in Mimamsa, saying whatever the Shastra is used is there for example Shaddarshana, it must be used only for establishing the validity of Vedas. But suppose if I want to write a new book in Sanskrit, like how can I create new word and also make it Veda compatible?
No, here pramana, when it is said that pramanas can be employed only to prove what is written in Vedas. So this statement itself is a wrong statement. Given this situation that pramanas are employed by Buddhist scholars also and Jain scholars also, and their philosophy is not a Vedic philosophy. They are using those pramanas to oppose the Vedas, to negate the Vedas. So here the point is this one. This statement is coming from this understanding that the ultimate philosophy is found in Vedas only. So if this statement is accepted, then that statement is also true. And if this statement is questioned, then that statement is always begging the question.
Thank you. Are there any further questions? If not, we will wind up.
There is a discussion in which it is not Sangara, but Sangara's guru is the propounder of the theory Advaita. It is Sangara's guru.
Santosh, you should confine the questions to what has been discussed, nothing outside what has been discussed. So if there is any further question within, yeah, please go ahead.
Namaste. Namaste. My name is Subramaniam. I'm from Bangalore. This is just a clarification kind of statement I'm going to make. It was asked by someone whether the Veda is has a beginning and has an end. In Advaita, as Professor Muralidharan rightly suggested, that Veda, Aveda, that is from this Paramarthika point of view, of course, Veda becomes, Veda is Mithya only. But then Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta very much holds the fact, holds the idea that the Veda has Pravaha Nityatva. So Pravaha Nityatva is accepted by, so definitely, as long as as somebody is in ignorance, he will keep taking birth after birth, and the world also will continue for him. So naturally, the Veda is also part of the world. He needs the Veda. So Veda is Anitya, Ananta, Nitya as Pravaha Nityatva. Whereas Kutastha Nityatva is there only for Brahman. That kind of Kutastha Nityatva is not there for Veda, but Pravaha Nityatva is definitely accepted. I just wanted to make this point. Thank you.
Okay, accepted. Very true.
Yeah, Vinay ji, go ahead. Please go ahead.
Can I speak?
Yeah, sure. Please go ahead. Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah, you're audible.
Kumara. I am a retired person from Goa University, now staying in Udupi. I am physically from Udupi only, Mishra ji. So, I have one or two small points. It's not, it is connected, but maybe a little, remotely connected also. But nevertheless, I believe it has some relevance. Hiranyana, M. Hiranyana, when he wrote all outlines of Indian philosophy, etc., he just left out Madhvacharya's Dvaita Vedanta. Then later, he incorporated some of the things and elaborate on that, sort of giving some credence to Madhvacharya's philosophy. I am not here to make any points regarding his likes and dislikes. The point I am trying to say is, all the three acharyas, Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, a host of others, they have interpreted all these Brahma Sutras, Upanishads, etc., keeping particular designs of the universe in their mind to begin with. This is a very important point, I believe. I mean, from my perspective, I was in Shimla, Rindamji was there for some time. So I was giving the points, and some of the things these were appreciated in the general seminar also. The point is that the designs of the universe is the foundational point with the moksha idea, and the three designs of the universe are given in basically a tantric line of their writings, like in Saundarya-Lahari. I mean, I'm not going to the literature, the authenticity, etc. Those Lakshmidhar and many other people have said and this and that. That's a different story altogether. The point is that the tantric lines, they have given the designs of the universe. 22nd shloka of Saundarya-Lahari makes Sri Yantra. Sri Yantra is the design of the universe. Similarly, for Madhvacharya, it is in Vijayadasa's Shuladi. We have Chakrapcha Mandala of Dvaita. Then we have these Samhitas and many other this thing like Vishwamitra and all that kind of things. Then we have the ideas of the universe of Ramanujacharya, which are both given in the two traditions of Vaikhanasa and Pancharatra. The Ananta Padmanabha Trivandra and then Tirupati itself, the designs of the universe are, in my opinion, therefore, are the foundational lines. And these three acharyas, as we know very well, they have used different sources which are not found within the Vedas also, like Upaya and other things by Madhvacharya and so forth. Therefore, along with the textual interpretations, if we are able to make sense of those designs of the universe, I think it would be very enlightening. For example, the Shastra unit was, the different, like the saying that finally the Vedas are becoming a Veda, etc. Adhisthana will be known. Once you know the Adhisthana, what they are talking about, which is what is going to be given by the designs, I think all the problems are solved. That's all. They're just an observation, Professor.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
तो अधर्मः अपि मतलब
I think this observation needs no comments. This is very much accepted.
Yeah. These are just my thoughts.
Are there any further questions?
Some people say that Vedas originate from clairvoyance. So how can we say there's no beginning of Vedas?
तो यहाँ कृष्ण का मतलब क्या है?
Vedas originate from
अतिशय दुर्बल हो। तो अतिशय का मतलब बहुत ज़्यादा।
This is the understanding according to Advaita Vedanta, that these Vedas are produced, coming into existence, you can say, as we take breathing. When we breathe, in the same way, these Vedas are produced in the form of breathing of Brahman. So if you take that breathings are there, and as long as one is breathing, the person is alive. So Brahman, the breathings of Brahman are Vedas. It means these Vedas are eternal, but they are not created in the same way as other things are created. So that is the only point.
Yeah, understood.
So we wind up this session. Purusha Vishwasavad, as beautifully been described by Sachidananda Mishra, the Shastra Yonitva and the different dimensions of how we understand Shastra Yonitva, and all those issues initially been raised by Mr. Chairman, Professor Chakravarti, have been well attended by Sachidananda Mishra, quoting the Leela Nyayena, subsequently Purusha Vishwasavad, Ayatna Lalitatva, through which the Vedas have been born, and also citing the Lakshanika Artha rather than the primary meaning, and trying to impress that it is for the Brahmanaha Swarupa Adhigama. That is the whole intention of citing this sutra as quoting Shankara's Bhashya, and he has shown both the positions and has also shown that they are not mutually exclusive of each other, and how one complements the other. Beautiful. I really enjoyed, as Professor Murli Madhavan was saying, that he really didn't know how the time passed, and this is yet another example how text reading can be beautiful and highly useful. Once again, I thank all the luminaries as well as scholars who have attended this study circle with the support of Sri Shankaracharya University of Sanskrit. On behalf of International School for Sri Shankaracharya Studies, I thank you all, and till we meet in the next study circle in the next month. So it's goodbye from ISS.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
धन्यवाद।
नमस्ते।
तो पृथ्वी का स्पर्श करता हुआ भुवम स्पृशन, ठीक है। तपस्विताम अर्थात तपश्चर्या को दधौ धारण किए हुए था। कौन धारण किए हुए था? नहीं
तप ना
तप में
सतयुग, एक मिनट, यही ना सतयुग, ये चारों।
नहीं, देखो ध्यान से
देखो।
सुनो। पहला जो सेंटेंस था
हाँ।
उसको तो हमने पढ़ लिया
पढ़
इसमें।
लिया।
क्या पढ़ लिया था फर्स्ट
कि
सेंटेंस
राजा
में?
नल,
हाँ, उसने क्या किया था?
राजा नल ये किया था ना कि तप में कोई शामिल
उसने इन चारों को स्थिर कर दिया था।
हाँ, एक मिनट।
हाँ,
राजा नल ने इन सतयुग, त्रेतायुग,
सतयुग में
तप,
इन चारों
ज्ञान,
को, हाँ,
इन सबको एक जगह स्थिर कर
और
दिया
ये
था।
चार क्या थे? तो ये धर्म या पुण्य के चार पैर थे। तो ये जो
जैसे
गाय
के
मैंने कही ना,
चार
गाय, हाँ, जो गाय कही ना मैंने, तो गाय को ही धर्म या पुण्य कहा गया है। इसीलिए बोलते हैं ना कि गाय हमारे लिए बहुत ज्यादा वो महत्वपूर्ण है।
हाँ,
क्यों
गाय
है?
माता।
हाँ, तो इसी वजह से। क्यों? क्योंकि गाय को धर्म कहा गया है या पुण्य कहा माना गया है। इसीलिए गाय, ऐसा कहा जाता है कि गाय के प्रत्येक बॉडी के हिस्से में क्या है? देवता वास करते हैं या भगवान का निवास है ना, समझ गए? ऐसा कहते हैं ना। तो खैर, तो ये धर्म के या जो पुण्य के चार पैर जो है उसको सतयुग में राजा नल ने स्थिर कर दिया
था।
तो उसमें कौन ऐसा होगा जो तप ना करता हो या कर रहा हो? तो इसका मतलब सब लोग कर रहे थे, समझ गए? ये फर्स्ट लाइन था, या मतलब हमारे श्लोक का फर्स्ट हाफ पूरा हो गया। अब सेकंड हाफ जो है इसका, उसमें क्या कहा? उसमें यही बात कही कि यहाँ तक की, है ना, यहाँ तक की जब इन्होंने स्थिर कर दिया था। हाँ, किसने? अधर्म ने भी क्या कर लिया? अधर्म ने भी अपने पैर के छोटी उंगली से भूमि का स्पर्श करते हुए क्या कर लिया? किसमें लग गया? वो
धारण कर लिया। तो क्या कहते हैं?
जो सब लोग करने लगे थे, क्या करने लगे थे सब? हाँ, तो वो भी क्या करने लगा? तप करने लगा। किसकी वजह से? राजा नल की वजह से। क्यों? क्योंकि उसने सबको स्थिर कर दिया था। इसीलिए उसको भी मजबूरी में, किसको? अधर्म को। समझ गए? अधर्म को भी क्या करना पड़ा? तप करना पड़ा। अब बात समझ में आ गई? ओके, हाँ। तो वो स्थिति बता दी और ये हो गया। यहाँ पर
यही था,
ठीक है। तो यही हमने इसमें देखा था, दो जो लाइनें थी ना, तब किया था,
ये से पढ़ा था। इसमें से पूछेंगे।
हाँ, बिल्कुल,
इंटरनल में उन्होंने बोला था।
इसलिए अच्छे से एक एक चीज आपको क्लियर होनी चाहिए। कितने युग हैं, क्या है, वो कितना कैसे है ना। ये जो चार,
इसमें से कुछ भी पूछ लेंगे, कितने युग हैं, ये कुछ भी पूछ लेते हैं।
बिल्कुल, श्लोक से कहीं से भी कुछ भी पूछ लेंगे। और श्लोक के मतलब आपको समझ लो कि छंद, अलंकार और उससे बनने वाले जितने भी क्वेश्चंस हैं वो सब पूछे जा सकते हैं।
छंद, अलंकार, ये कैसे मतलब इसमें?
हाँ, तो जैसे देखो इस
ये रहा अलंकार जैसे लिखा हुआ है।
छंद तो सभी श्लोकों में समान है,
मतलब
हाँ। अगर अभी आप वो पढ़ोगे जब परिच्छेद, क्या नाम है उसका, साहित्य दर्पण का छठा परिच्छेद, तो उसमें बताया भी जाएगा कि महाकाव्य जो होते हैं ना, तो महाकाव्यों में प्रत्येक सर्ग में एक ही छंद चलता रहता है। सर्ग जैसे ही बदलेगा तो छंद चेंज हो जाएगा।
मतलब
तो ये महाकाव्य है।
महाकाव्य है ये तो
महाकाव्य,
लेकिन छंद एक ही चल रहा है इसमें।
हाँ, तो इसमें एक ही छंद सारे श्लोकों में चलेगा। लास्ट वाला श्लोक बदल जाएगा, उसका छंद बदल जाएगा, क्योंकि फिर अगला जो नेक्स्ट वो आ रहा है, सर्ग आ रहा है, वो चेंज हो जाता है, इसीलिए। लेकिन अब जो बाकी सारे श्लोक होंगे उसमें तो एक ही छंद होगा। समझ गए मेरी बात? हाँ, तो वो कौन सा छंद है, तो वो यहाँ से आप देख सकते हो।
स्टार्टिंग में जो है,
हाँ, वो स्टार्टिंग में बता देंगे आपको। ये देखो, जहाँ तक वंशस्थ ही था शायद, या मे भी देख लेते हैं। ये रहा वंशस्थ,
ये वाला छंद है।
हाँ, ये छंद
सब में चलेगा ये, मतलब
हाँ, ये पूरे वहाँ तक। और उसका लक्षण भी दिखा दिया है यहाँ पर, सारा बता दिया गया है उसको घटा करके, है ना। तो जैसे वंशस्थ में जो है ना, देखो मैं आपको बताता हूँ एक बार, दिखाओ, पेंसिल दिखाओ। ये लक्षण है उसका, क्या है
लक्षण?
हाँ, इसमें वर्ण गिनो जरा, कितने हैं बोलो?
2 3
हाँ
4 5 6,
जो संयुक्त होंगे ना उनको एक साथ गिनना। हाँ
7
हाँ
8
हाँ
9
हाँ
10 11 12